All right, one last round for the road. Kimberly Ellis. Kimberly Ellis, she ran for the California state chair of the Democratic Party. I don't know, I'm not going to say she lost because I'm not sure about that. From your words, what happened there? I did some interviews with your delegates. You had a lot of momentum, I would say. When I was looking at the tape of that day, all I saw was pink, which was your color, but you weren't victorious. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened that day was that the majority of the elected delegates voted for change, and unfortunately they didn't see that change. Mm-hmm. We have filed a formal challenge to the election results and are waiting to hear the outcome, but we believe that there were enough irregularities and inconsistencies to call for a third-party independent forensic audit of the vote in order to validate the votes, and so that is what we are calling for.
And remind me, how many votes did you lose by?
62, okay. Supposedly.
And it seems like what was happening there, from what I was told by many people, was very similar to the DNC chair race and Nevada, registration issues and, issues that only seem to trouble your side and not the person who actually won.
Yeah, which is really interesting, right? As the Democratic Party, we say we are a party that stands for transparency, that stands for truth, that stands for election integrity. And so we can't be the party that just calls on, investigating irregularities when it comes to Russia, particularly, tampering or possibly tampering with our elections, but not to call for the same kind of scrutiny within our own house. And so what we are calling for is a process that would get us to the truth. And we are standing for transparency and for truth in this election. That's what this is all about.
I think also it's important, bigger picture, bigger than just your race, but if we're talking about like the integrity of our elections with Russia, well, how about the integrity of our elections within the Democratic Party? Obviously, there were issues in 2016. I saw them up close in Iowa, New York, in California, in Arizona, 7-hour lines, 126,000 people purged off the Democratic rolls in Brooklyn. Same thing in Arizona, I think it was 100,000. So if people going into 2018, 2020 cannot trust that their vote counts, then that's not a democracy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for those people who are calling for unity, I think more important than unity is to call for truth. And we have to be that party that is willing to rebuild trust in our base, and that starts with being willing to be transparent about our elections. And so this really is about this party not just being the party that talks about those values of transparency and truth and election integrity, but being a party that lives those values in everything that we do.
And for the audience that might not know the story that well, might not know you that well, what was the positions you were running on in the chair race?
Yeah, so I was running to democratize the Democratic Party, to flatten out the hierarchy of the party, to give power back to the people. I talked about wanting to disperse power in order to empower the grassroots and the masses, as opposed to collapsing and consolidating power into the hands of a few. This really was about the heart and soul of the Democratic Party. It was about getting us back to basics, rerouting and regrounding this party in people, and being a party that really stands for fairness and justice and equity for everybody, and not just a party that talks about it.
And when you look at the bigger picture, you see they lost to this Trump, and instead of an autopsy, we've had kind of a red scare going on. Whether you think there should be an investigation or not, I don't have a problem with an investigation into irregularities in the election. What I do have a problem with is when that takes precedent over the Flint water crisis or people getting shot in Standing Rock, and I could go on and on. Do you feel that the Democratic Party is there even can they learn their lesson? Will they learn their lesson? Is it really just going to come to a hostile takeover, starting on this level at the People's Summit?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and what we've said is that this is a test. This is a test for the California Democratic Party, which is the largest, most powerful, most influential state party in the entire country, to really prove that once and for all, it is a party that stands for the values of transparency and truth, and election integrity. And so what we've said is that if there's nothing to hide and if everything is on the up and up, then what can it hurt to have a third-party independent forensic audit come in, take a look at everything, and make sure everything is okay. After all, we say we're the Democratic Party that believes in democracy and the democratic process, so this is a test to see if they will answer that call.
And what's the mechanics? You formally filed a grievance?
We formally filed a challenge to the election with the Compliance Review Commission. We've also filed sort of a challenge to that commission, which is made up of 6 people who are all supporters of my opponent. So the thought that we can get some kind of fairness adjudicated from that body is that question as well. But we have done the formal challenge there, and we will await their results and see where we go from there.
Well, I'm glad you're putting up a fight, and
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right.